She dents the wall.
I'm not touching it.
She won't use it.
It's there. I'm getting used to it. I'm used to starting team meetings just with,
No.
No. So show me how it's done.
All right.
That's why I sit in the front, so I can't be distracted.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't realize.
It's a year to learn how to hit it just right.
Just right. There's the technique. There's the technique. Well, everybody, welcome back, Kelly Rockefeller, from her amazing trip to Grenada. She lost her dive light, $400 at the bottom of the ocean. So if anyone goes back to Grenada, it can go down and get it for her.
It's at 140 feet.
It's at 140 feet. Just bring it back. That would be great.
The one time we're not on a reach at 40 feet where I could have gotten it.
Oh,
What did you lose?
My dive light. It's like a really high powered light.
Here.
Hold on.
Okay.
I was trying to,
Okay.
I don't know what I was doing.
Okay. There we go.
Oh,
You guys,
that's what I was doing.
welcome to
Zoom.
part one of a two-part spring break series. I'm looking around the room and I see that we're a little bit light. And I love that because here we build lives by design, right? And we all know if we go 1,000 miles an hour every minute from start to finish, we burn ourselves out. And that doesn't help anybody or anyone. And we're here to build lives that make sense for us. So if you have kids at home and you're feeling guilty about taking time off, let me encourage you to not. Life goes really, really fast. In fact, there's a book called Time Management for Humans. If anyone is brave enough to crack it open, it will tell you how many Thanksgivings you have, how many Easters you have, how many dinners you have throughout the course of the time that you're on this planet. So it gives you an idea of how to, prioritize things. And of course, family, what you honor comes first. So we're here to support that. And for those of you who are ready to dive in, we've got some huge content. Right now in this market, we know that you need to be staying in touch with your people and you need to be growing the number of people that you're staying in touch with. So Chris is going to come up here in a little bit to talk about how she's supercharged her system. But before we get there, we have a couple things that we're going to be working on. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, press that button.
Okay. We have a couple welcomes. Tanya joined us last week, so we're excited to have Tanya here. And frankly, if anyone knows, that Tanya. So welcome, Tanya. We also celebrate when businesses get started. So Venetia had her first closing. We're super excited for her. Achievement, right? First closing, huge achievement. And then we also obviously celebrate when people have huge successes in their business. So the Red X, congratulations for Kat. We started talking a little bit about mission, our mission, vision, values. And we talk about this at every team meeting. Culture really matters. And one of the things that we know is you don't succeed alone. So you are surrounded by colleagues that support you, and you're surrounded by vendors that come in and partners outside of the business that support you. So for today's mission moment, we have the opportunity to thank Angela for coming. Come on up. So Angela did something for this group before I arrived. Yes. What did you do?
So I think it was the opening of one of the
Okay.
Yep. And so unfortunately I wasn't physically there, but Jeff was kind enough to pick up about 9 dozen cookies for that grand opening, and it sounds like it went really well. So
Yeah. So
thank you.
We're excited for you to be part of our journey. If you walked by the back counter, you walked by samples of her work. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, how you do it.
So I'm Angela Alioto. Thank you for having me today. I am the owner of Mama's Dough. So just a little bit about myself. My husband and I live in Sussex. We moved there a few years ago. We absolutely love the area. I have 2 sons, Giovanni, who's 7, and Alonzo, who's 5. Very Italian names, if you haven't noticed that. Yes. So I grew up in Waukesha. My husband went to Montego, so that's why I met Jeff here. So Jeff was at our wedding. He also helped us buy our last 2 homes. So thank you, Jeff. A little bit more about me. I've worked in healthcare since graduating college. I went to Edmond College in Madison. So that's kind of been a lot of what I've been doing. But I knew I always wanted to kind of have a business. and kind of have something I was really passionate about. So again, my family were Italian. Cooking is huge. It is a staple at every family event. Lots of food, cookouts, holidays, you name it. Food is always the center. So I got really into baking with my college roommate. Baking, cooking, kind of different. So baking a lot more precision and things like that. But I finally mastered this chocolate chip cookie recipe when I was pregnant with my oldest in 2015. So quickly, cookies became a staple at all the gatherings, family and friend events, cookouts. Are you bringing cookies? Yes, dozens of cookies at every event. So lots of encouragement from family and friends to kind of make it a business. So last year, I finally kind of took that plunge and decided to open Mama's Dough. My brother's girlfriend is in advertising and marketing, so she really helped me kind of grow the brand. I had a vision and she really made it come to life. So she did that amazing job. I wanted kind of like the Italian theme, you know, just like Mama's, Mama Knows Best, but also kind of keeping that hominess feel. You'll kind of see my bags and boxes back there have that like kind of brown bag type of feel, so that kind of homemade feeling. So I did my friend's wedding this past summer. That was so much fun. I did about 300 cookies for them, and it was so great to get some feedback from people that I didn't directly know. So you weren't just being nice, they really did like the cookies. So that was really good feedback. And then I did my first vendor event at the Sussex Block Party, and that was a great success. I did about 45 dozen cookies and was sold out in less than 2 hours. I didn't really know what to expect for that event, but I got invited back for this summer in August, and I will definitely be making more. But the Journal Sentinel did a really great article, so it was a free advertisement for me, and got lots of reach outs from people from there. So that is kind of a little bit of the history. It hasn't even been a year yet, but it's been so much fun. What Mama's Dough can do for you guys, Jeff had me at one of his open houses. So if you're having open houses or closing for clients, client gifts at the end of the year, there's different like sizes of bags. I have the Mama mini bags, which can be like 4 to 6 cookies. So great for teacher gifts and things like that. If you're doing an open house and you want to do like a tiered type of tray, I have multiple trays I'm happy to lend you to have out. I think having that at an open house, that kind of home feeling of something homemade is memorable for people too, especially if they're doing multiple things. So something to kind of look into. I'm happy to help with any of that planning. Different, I chocolate chip cookies there, and then some Reese's Pieces, but kind of going into other flavors. Some Andes mint was really big over the holidays. If there's a certain flavor that you want to see, let me know. I'm happy to do that. So yes, that is kind of in a nutshell here. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. I've seen people sneak to the box. If you guys want to make sure you get a cookie before you leave. No shame. There's no shame. Sneaking to the box. Angela is one of those who is doing work-life balance over the spring. So thank you for coming in on your spring break with your kids. We appreciate that. She will not be able to stick around, but her cards and contact information are by the box. So make sure you take advantage of them. One of the things I love about listening to our vendors and how they build their businesses, we're in the same business, right? We are all looking to serve clients to the best of our ability. So support local, support those who do amazing work. I love the fact that you've had a great article and got some free publicity. How can we do that, right? We can all learn from what everybody's doing, so we all succeed, right? When you succeed, we all succeed together. So I'm done being cheesy. But thank you for
so
coming.
much.
On time. With that, we do have, you know, our business is complex, right? And we, part of doing the best job we possibly can is knowing the ins and outs of all of the things that come down the pipe. So it is spring break. Dawn is on a much deserved vacation herself this week. So I've invited Steph Connor to come in. Steph and I know each other from, Steph came in when I was running the Lake Country office and I needed a compliance broker, and it was COVID. Literally, I got my job in 2 days, we shut down. And then what do we do, right? And I didn't have we had to figure it out. So Steph came in and the two of us started building the office and supporting the agents, and she knows her stuff. Like like as quickly as I can get things over to Steph, the better I felt, because I know that people were supported. We have that here with our amazing compliance team, and they need a break. So they're taking one, and Steph stepped in. So she's going to be doing compliance for us. You're struggled with this last week too.
Well, I think I'm just on the screen. Yeah, I think there you go.
Okay,
Go.
so I'm here to introduce or reintroduce the GMAR Addendum AC to you guys. That is the new form that with the help of the WRA put together to kind of help systematize all of this language and make all of this language that we had floating around when we're writing in competition over the additional contingencies, additional provisions. So, this competitive offer writing that we're doing, adding inspection threshold language, adding that appraisal gap language, the escalation clause. There was just so many different versions of this language floating around that Corey Lamont and the WRA came together, heard our pleas to put it all in one form. So now we've got consistent language. I'm not going to mince words when I say it's still going to be confusing to people. I've been telling agents, like, have patience with this new form. The bright side is though that we're all working on the same language and can come together with our heads and navigate through it together. So again, it combines the inspection contingency threshold language, the appraisal gap language, and the escalation clause. Consistency across marketplace, of course, so that was the big goal. And optional use. So this, like any other form, I mean, it's standard for us to use the GMAR Addendum A, of course, but you're only going to use this if you want to employ these tools for your buyers in this competitive market. And I would say now 9.9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be using this with our even more competitive landscape. I mean, we thought last year was bad. We thought the year before was bad. Seems to be even worse this year. So just know that this is out here.
So many.
Yeah. So sorry. Yeah. And I'm gonna try and not, I mean, we did a training on this. We invited the Southwest office, and hopefully you guys are all aware of our YouTube channel. Okay, good. And we'll continue to have consistent trainings on this. So I could go and talk about this for another hour. I'm gonna try and keep this as succinct as possible. Obviously we're the team meeting setting, but there is a training out there on our YouTube library. So I am only going to assume that you guys have this in your zip forms packets, the global packets. Okay, one thing I wanted to point out, and it's just labeled almost identically as the Addendum A. So a lot of people I've been having questions that people are not able to find it. It is there, but it starts the Greater Milwaukee Association of Realtors. And then if you kind of hover over, you'll see that it's the GMAR Addendum AC. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so all of this should look familiar. It's like standard language at the top. Offer to purchase dated, made by buyers on line 2 with respect to the property, then you'll put in the address. So again, just familiarizing yourselves with it, knowing that it's pretty much identical top wise. Then we get into the inspection threshold language. I'm not going to go through this line by line, but I did just want to point out some few key things here. So you're only going to add this inspection threshold language if you have an inspection contingency. So if you are writing an offer without an inspection contingency, you would have no need to use this at all. And then the second piece of this is you're only going to include this if the seller has the right to cure. So if you are writing an offer and there's no inspection contingent, or there is an inspection contingency, but you're not giving the seller the right to cure, then you wouldn't even need to use this. On line 10 is where you're going to identify that threshold amount. So, $5,000, $10,000, that buyer is not going to submit a notice of defects or an amendment, which is clear on this now, which was not clear before, if the cost to repair those items falls under that threshold. So that's clear now, which is great. I also wanted to again, it's hard kind of going through these contracts in a small setting like this in a short period of time. So I don't want to get into too many rabbit holes, but again, if it comes down to the point of having a notice of defects served, make sure that you're contacting your compliance brokers to help navigate what happens. It does state right in here that if it does get down to a seller electing to cure, they only have to cure the balance of the cost beyond the threshold amount. So again, I'm just going to encourage everybody, if you guys get down to that, to those points, please just go to Sarah and Dawn with questions. So again, we're all navigating through this together. Another thing that I wanted to point out with the inspection threshold language are these additional provisions that you can include. These are more incentives for the seller. So starting at line 19, one or more of the following provisions may be included. So giving the seller the option to obtain estimates themselves, which again, if you're writing in competition, I would just encourage this to be checked. And then another provision that we loved seeing was the ability for either party to automatically extend the inspection contingency just by notice. So if you guys are getting down to the wire and this provision is checked, either party can unilaterally with a notice state that we're going to extend the inspection contingency deadline by 5 days, which is awesome. So again, go to the compliance brokers, come to me, come to Joni, watch the YouTube video as well. And I'll make sure that, yeah, okay. The appraisal gap language, which is the most, I'd say cut and dry of the three. But again, that appraisal gap, so, you know, helping to protect and give buyers, giving sellers some comfort, accepting those offers that are way above list price, concerned about appraisal, concerned about it being appraised. Now it's standard that we can have this appraisal gap language in there. So if the offer includes an appraisal contingency and the appraised value is less than the purchase price, oops. Nope. There we go. Buyer agrees to cover the difference up to, and then in line 30 is where you'll put that amount. So $10,000, $5,000, whatever the buyer's agreeing to cover. And then I love this. This is right in here, and we can point right to this to our buyers. So if buyers want to include this appraisal gap language, buyer hereby represents the buyer has sufficient funds to cover the gap and amount financed in the financing commitment contingency in the offer. And then on line 28, buyer represents buyer has consulted with their lender. So we can just point right to that statement for our buyers. Please make sure that you are talking with your lenders and that you have the ability to do this. Okay. Then the escalation clause, our favorite. Still just, you know, for fielding questions based off how the escalation clause is written here as well. So, you know, already having conversations with the WRA and Corey Lamont directly on all of this. So it's just more, I'm communicating that have peace of mind and knowing that we're all kind of fumbling through this together. So on line 27 is where you'll enter the date where the other competing offers have to be in by. On line 40 is where you're going to put that incremental amount. So seller or buyer agrees to bump the offer, you know, $1,000 more than the next highest purchase price. So put that on line 40. Line 42, and this is where we're getting the most questions. On whether or not the price can be increased once or more than once. Joni and I are of the opinion that we would always advise just doing once, but again, that's just our personal opinion. So I'll backtrack on that. And then, so if your buyer is willing to have the purchase price bumped more than once, then you have the ability to check that you're gonna do that. It has the ability to bump more than once if there are multiple offers received with escalation clauses. So that's when it would be enacted. And then on line 44 is where you're gonna put in that max amount. The purchase price of this offer shall not exceed blank. You'll enter that there. And then on line 45 through 48, we're also pretty excited about the inclusion of this. So purchase price of this offer is increased based on one or more offers. Seller shall no later than 2 days submit the other offers to the buyer and along with a signed amendment. So it spells out right in here that the seller has to initiate this communication with the buyer and the amendment. That was not clear before in the language that we were using. And then on line 49, we've got space to put in the buyer's email address right away. So, and then lines 50 to 51, buyer agrees to accept the amendment and deliver it back to the seller according to the delivery terms in this offer and by the deadline for acceptance in this amendment. Also, just black and white in there now. We used to be fielding a lot of questions on, well, what happens if the buyer doesn't sign the amendment, you know? So it's just spelled out now right in there. Yes, sir.
If they, well, actually.
No, I mean, I think that's that's where I'd like to end. So this is a perfect.
So if they were to write, like, I'll, but then like all the other offers brought it up to the point where 3,000 over your max.
It would just go up to the max.
Okay. Assume it's, I've had people say.
No, but only caps at that map. Yep. Okay. Thank you
Any
guys.
other
Thanks for your
questions, you guys?
time. Yeah.
Anytime we try to combine 3 things on one form, there are going to be questions, right? So what happens if there's a lot escalation and an inspection and, all of it. I think a good thing to note is that anytime that things come out, I mean, the offer to purchase used to be 2, right? What is it now? 10, right? And that's because stuff has gone, because of questions that the forms create. So if you have a question, don't assume that you're just not reading it correctly. Right? You have a whole team of people who can support you. And frankly, the bigger your business gets and the faster you go, the more contracts may not seem intuitive because things change and you're not spending the time that you do with them when you're a little bit slower, right? So sometimes the biggest teams and the biggest producers struggle the most with these contracts. There are 2 ways you can go. You can dive into the contracts and use them like a little bit of a jujitsu, right? I mean, there's amazing things you can do with a contract to help your people stay really strong. The other thing that you can do is lose touch, right? So let's not go that way. Lean on your people. They're all here to support you. So thank you, Steph, and thanks for coming out. I should, but it doesn't always work. So Kathleen is here today. She's going to do just a little bit. I've been talking with a lot of people who said I need help. The business is taking a lot of our time now. People are needing multiple showings. Buyers are losing out. So therefore we hang on to our buyers longer. What is the first piece of leverage? Some of this may be familiar to some of you, but I don't know what.
So Key Please. Key Please is your showing assistance when you need help. Say you go out of town or you're already with another client, you can't just drop everything to meet another buyer at a house, right? So Key Please is your assistance where you can leverage the power of all the other agents at Keller Williams to assist you in your business, okay? All 630 of us are in the system already. You just have to sign up if you haven't signed up yet. So there's a QR code you can use to download the app. You can also find the link to download this app on our KW Realty MKE website under showing assistance. And really what this is you need somebody to do a showing for you. You need somebody to just go grab a lockbox. You need somebody to go put an accepted offer sign writer up for you. You can just put it out to the atmosphere, $20 to go hang a sign writer at this address. and the first one who claims it gets it and goes and does it for you. Okay. So, and it's a really easy way for you to just say, here's what I need. And then the agents respond with, yes, please, I'll go do that for you. Right. And they get really excited. And it's a really great way as a new agent for you to also go out there and see the houses, right? Go out there and get to know the inventory, and maybe make a little bit of cash on the side as well. So all the money transfer is through the app. So you don't have to worry about like tracking somebody down to give them cash or worrying about what's your Venmo. Everything takes place through the app as well. And you can actually favorite agents. So say you do build a relationship with an agent that's been helping you out with showings, you can favorite them. What that does is when you put out a request, it goes to your favorites list first. If there's no response in like a couple of minutes, then it goes and sends it out to everybody else. Make sense? I think it's a really great leverage tool, and I see requests come across my phone constantly. So there's people out there using it.
Yeah, there are people out there using it. And you guys, as your business is growing and you're wondering, gosh, do I need to pay for an assistant? This is a good first step, right? So right now there's a hesitation, like, I don't know if I want to take that expense on. You use something like this, you gauge how often you need it and what you're using it for. It can help you write your job description for when you eventually do hire somebody, right? Just experience with that. And new people, if you are not doing real estate related business every day, you are not raising your hand enough. And this is how you raise your hand, right? So key please. I see, and this happens in all of our market centers on our internal Facebook page. Can somebody do a showing? Can somebody do this? Can somebody do this? Start here first, right? And see what you can do.
Yeah, people might not have Facebook open, but this is a notification that comes right on their phone instantly. So it's actually a better way to get a hold of people if you really need some help right away.
Yes, for sure. So we wanted to share that. If you guys have any questions, Kathleen's going to be hanging out for a little bit. You're more than welcome. As new people come to the office, they are added to the list. So sometimes they try to download Keithleys and they try to use it and they're not in there. Talk with us, we will get you added. So we got all of the details out of the way, all of the little things that you need to do, like those technical pieces that help you run your business. And now we're going to talk about some really significant, how do you build your business, right? There are always two pieces, doing the business and building the business. Chris Ruskowitz and I were having a conversation not too long ago about one of the things that she is using that is bringing her a lot of success. And I'll tell you, one of the things that caught my attention was in a down market, her business is up 12.2%. Anyone who can do that right now is going to get my attention. What are you doing and how do we share it? And how do we make sure you all have the capacity to know what's happening and how does this fit in your world? So Chris, thank you for coming today.
We're most welcome.
I'm gonna,
I'm most welcome. Well, I'm not either. That's why I usually have my lovely friend over here do it, or I'll just use the arrows on here because that works too.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. How we doing? We need some energy in the room. All right. Here's what we're going to do first. First of all, I'm going to admit I haven't looked at the weather since 4:30 this morning when I got up. Obviously, I'm overdressed. I didn't realize it was going to get so warm outside. Can I ask all of you to do me a really big favor? I want all of you to stand up. All right. Does anybody know what a train clap is? No. All right. We're going to start slow and we're going to go fast and we're going to go really fast for like maybe 15 seconds. And then we're going to go, yes. And then we're going to have some energy in the room. All right. So we're going to start really slow. All right. Okay, now you can sit down. Thank you for playing along. I could feel the energy draining because we were talking about stuff that's incredibly important. And we had a lot of conversations about this when I was a compliance worker, so I get it. Now we're going to talk about something with some energy that every single person in this room can do. Many of you over the last couple of years know that I've always done an equity analysis in the first quarter. It's my DTD2 call. How many call their DTD2, do they use the system? How many of you use the system? Oh, those of you that are not, you're missing out. Okay, it's all right. So what the system, Doing the database too. So it is divided up there's two maps, gold coaches that created the system. They have a ongoing training called Never Ending Referrals. That's every Monday. It's $39 a month. They give you what to say, when to say it, how to respond. It's well worth the $39 a month if you're not familiar with the DTD2 system. It is a way to make sure that you connect with each person in your database once a quarter. The reason they do that, okay, the research of Gary Keller's Top 100. They're doing the research for the MREA 2, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent 2. And the number one thing that his top 100 said brought them business was making sure they touched everybody in your database every quarter. Don't pay for leads until you have exhausted your database, because those people know you and they love you. They already love you and they know you. That's who you should be talking to. So they created the system to make sure that you can touch everybody every quarter. So the first week starts in the second quarter next week. Who knows who the call group is for next week? A&W, yes. So everybody in your database whose last name, and some people sort by first name, and that's okay too. And the reason they do that is because they don't want to call husband and wife in the same week. So they split it up using first name. That's okay, as long as you're making calls, it's all good. A&W, everybody in your database whose first name or last name starts with an A or a W gets a call next week. How many of you don't do it because you don't know what to say? But very hesitant people are like, I don't want to raise my hand. I don't want to raise my hand. Seriously, guys, it's okay. We all do. This system gives you something to say. I have something, a very specific system for every quarter. This system doing what I used to call the equity analysis works. So I started doing it again in January. I wasn't getting a lot of response. It was time to change it up. I'm like, market changed. People are kind of pushing me off. I got to change this. So I switched it up to an annual real estate review. How many of us have, and how many of our clients have? They talk to their financial advisor, right? And you do an annual review with your financial advisor. Some people do it with their insurance agents. They should. If the agent's doing their job, they should be calling their clients and doing an annual review of all of their insurance policies. Well, what is the biggest purchase? 97% of the US population. What is it? What's their biggest asset? It's their home. Shouldn't they also get a review of the value of their home, because that's part of their wealth? Their financial advisor, if they have one, should be talking about it as well. So I approached it in a different way, and here's what happened. I changed up the system. And what I did was, instead of having the equity analysis go out every week to those people who are in that DTD2 group and kind of doing a follow-up call, first of all, I changed it to an annual real estate review. Secondly, I completely switched up the email, which I will show you. And I have the template for you. I'm going to make this as easy as I can for you guys. I called it an annual real estate review. I added a lot of touches. I then sent the report to everyone, which I hadn't been doing in the past, because using RPR, it literally will take you 3 minutes. Okay, so what happens the week before the call? So this week, and I have an assistant, and if you don't, it's okay. I've got some tips and tricks for you, because it can be a lot of work to put it all together. Once you get the system set, it's easy. So we create an RPR report. How many of you are familiar with RPR? Yay, good. How many of you use RPR? Oh, more than I thought. It's really good. The property report is, I think, 13 pages total if you use the whole thing. And you don't have to use all the pages for this. So it's a report. You put in the address, click reports, pick property reports, pick the pages you want, hit run, and it's literally done in 2 to 3 minutes. And you get a really loud doorbell sound. that if you're not ready for it, will scare the daylights out of you. The first time it happened, it was this really, really loud ding dong, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute, that's not my doorbell. So don't be freaked out when it happens when you do it. So I create the RPR, actually my assistant, we do the RPR report. We take the report for each person, and we put it in a Google file. Okay, so it's in a folder in my Google Drive. Then we created, and I use BombBomb, and I understand, and we'll have to ask tough people, there's a way to put a video in an email, you can, at Friday yet. So I kept my BombBomb, and if you can't, you don't need to do the video, I choose to do the video, you don't have to, you can easily send the email without it. But I created an email that just said, hey, because the biggest thing is we are the knowledge brokers, right? Are we not the experts of our local market? What is everybody other than us? What are they hearing? What's the media telling them? Sky's falling. Market's gonna crash. Rates are up. Nobody's buying houses, right? We know that's not true. It's our job. It's our duty to change their perspective. We can't change their perspective if we're not talking to them about what's actually happening in the market. This RPR report shows them what's happening with their house in this market. Is the RPR report exact? Heck no. Do I care? Nope. We are trying to start the conversation. That's all this is a way to start the conversation, because once you start the conversation, now you can say, you know what? That's a general number based on what they're finding, how they're analyzing the data. What's really important is, when can we get together? I haven't been in your house in 5 years. I'd love to see what you've done. Then I can do a more detailed analysis based on what's happening in our local market right now. When can we get together? Tonight or tomorrow will be better. This started a ton of conversations. So the RPR report gets saved in the Google folder. We customize the email template, which I will show you. And that email template gives them multiple reasons to want to know the value of their home. So their net worth. Is their insurance enough? And I've been doing this for 3 years. Last year, I have a story. Their homeowner's insurance was not high enough. They talked to their insurance agent. Not only did they increase the value, they added a rider for hail damage. And guess what happened in June in Franklin last year? Huge hailstorm. One subdivision had over 40 houses that were damaged. Their neighbor across the street did not have the right coverage, and it cost them, I think they said it was like $12,000 or $13,000 out of pocket. My clients called their insurance agent and then called me and said, thank you. Thank you, thank you. He said it would have been $8,000 to $10,000 out of her pocket had we not called them. And we only called them because you suggested it. And then I got a referral from them. Okay, so even if you're not going to get immediate business out of this, you're providing a service and reasons for them to trust you as the local expert. So the report's done. We put their specific numbers into the email template. Friday, a text message goes out. It's a smart plan. Can't get any easier than that. Okay, it's a smart plan. We set it up for that DTD2 group, and it's, you know, just says, hey, you know, I'm sure you're aware of changes happening in the real estate market and curious how the changes may have impacted the value of your home. Home values are still on the rise. Most are kind of like a 0.5% here and there. You know, but this goes out and it's got a Mofer color. Text me. Enjoy your day, Chris. If somebody responds right away, obviously I get to talk to them right away. If they don't, that's okay, because Monday morning, all the emails go out. Okay, so Monday morning, all the emails go out. I have the rest of the week to call and talk to them and planting the seed and bringing them value. Okay. The smart plan also has a task in it that lists everybody on Monday, all the tasks come up and who is in that group that I have to call. So I don't have to dig for it. It's right there. Obviously, we have to practice how we handle the objections because we get the where are we gonna go, what's going on.
Can I just, on
Yeah.
that last slide, one of the things, and this is what being in a skills market is understanding the language that you're using such that you're open for, right? And one of the things that I think is super subtle in that script, but nowhere does it say, can I buy or sell your home? Are you thinking about moving? There's that is not part of that script at all. So what you're doing is opening the door for a larger conversation to help them interact with you. And maybe they are thinking about buying or selling, but God knows they're not going to say that because what's our next move? Oh, great. Let's get you on the market, but I'm not ready, right? So what you're doing is you're getting in the house and you're creating or strengthening that relationship so that they trust you with when do you want to buy or sell. You're not starting with that and more conversations happen, more opportunities happen.
Thank you.
Just call me Captain.
And then, like Diana said, we're going to get the conversations. Well, we've been thinking about it, but rates are too high. There's no place to go. There's nothing on the market. Everybody says it's really bad. We're going to wait until the market crashes and prices are low. We have slides from Gary Keller to use to answer every one of those objections, right? We've had conversations. If we need to have more conversations, just let us know. We'll keep practicing. Okay, so just to be prepared when you get those objections, well, where are you hearing that? Well, we heard on the news. Okay, what else are you hearing? Tell me more. Is it okay? And I always ask the question, is it okay if I tell you what's really happening in the market? I'd really appreciate the opportunity. And then know your numbers. Who knows how much inventory there is in Waukesha County? What's the inventory rate as of this morning? You can have it come up on your MLS home screen every single day so that you know. 0.92 months of inventory in Waukesha County. How can you use that in a conversation when somebody's going, well, I was thinking of downsizing, but the market's really wonky and everybody says the sky is falling? Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me tell you what. There's only 0.92 months of inventory in homes for sale in Waukesha County. I know that doesn't sound important to you, but here's what it means. And then explain to them. And say, oh, by the way, my team has a system. We door knock, we send golden letters. We don't say golden letters because they have no clue. Okay. And we do everything we can to find people off market properties. Maybe we should get together and go through the numbers. Let me see the house. Let me do a more detailed analysis. Would that be of value to you? I just want to make sure that you have the information you need to make the best decision for you and your family. Okay, this opens the door. That's all this is to start the conversation.
Can I encourage our solo agents out there, use we as well.
Mhm.
You have vendors, you have partners. When you use we, confidence that you have the support to do. And it is absolutely the truth. Business job. So it's for team or individual. We are your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Always use we. And then the door knock helps because if you have someone you're talking to that it wants to downsize, but they're not sure where to go, we door knock around open houses to find properties for other people and to find more listings, obviously, but we find more properties when we have buyers that we're door knocking for, and people are responding. Nikki door knocked last week Friday. She's setting up a listing appointment for someone who's been wanting to downsize but hasn't yet, and now Nikki's going to meet with her. So I'm going to go through this quickly, and there is a video at the end that my assistant created. Unfortunately, he's not available to unlock it, so it won't work on here. It works, so I'll get it out to you guys. So obviously you need storage for the RPR, and I'm going to show you how to do the RPR report when we're done. So you need storage. Yeah, we just have a Google folder. We put all of them in one folder by name and address because you're gonna link it to the email that you're sending. So you have to have the link. So and know that RPR only holds reports for 30 days and then they delete them. So if you want to hold on to those reports, you've got to save them someplace else. Okay. Then we created he has a spreadsheet. And every week NW is in the spreadsheet, all the names and addresses are in there. And I only do this the first quarter. I have a different call for Q2. So he puts it all in there. I go through it. If there's somebody I don't think I want to send it to because they moved out of state or whatever. And actually some of the out of state people I did send them to, depends on who they are. Because remember, we know agents all around the world. And then he goes into RPR. Creates the report, which I'll show you because it's very simple, very fast. Put the address in, create report. It is the property report, which is the first one. So you'll get these slides. You'll see that it's generating, and when it's done, you'll get that really loud doorbell. It's very obnoxious. Even when you turn the sound down, it's really obnoxious. It's right. It's like super loud. When the report's done, save it. And then we have the BOMBOD email, anything, whatever you do. If you don't use a video, that's okay. You're going to get the template. We go into the template and we add in, it's the appreciation in the last 12 months. What's happened in the last 30 days, what the estimated property value is, what the equity value is, which is the estimated property value less any mortgage or home equity, home balances. I've attached the report for you. Now, you'll see in the rest of the email, there's a MOFR to the recipient. In the video, there's a MOFR to the recipient, but I also add in here, do you know of anyone that would be interested in this kind of information? Okay, so there's 3 different calls to action. And then you have to know how to you can attach it to an email, you can create a button in your email. We have a button in the email that says click here. And then the video that we can't use. So sorry, he's traveling. I have a cyberbacker whose wife has an offer for a job in Savannah, Georgia. And I'm like, you cannot leave cyberbacker because you're like way too good. So I'm freaking out, but he's en route right now. Can we get to RPR and I'll show, and then did we add the email itself? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. I want to show you what the email looks like. I don't want to like close out Zoom trying to get out of here. Oh,
She has it up for you.
Was it there? Right there. Thank you. Okay, so RPR. I want you to see how simple this is, and then I want to talk just a little bit to the solo agents because you might be freaking out about the amount of work. It really, once you get used to it and you have the template set up. So if I wanted to, I put in this address. Okay, so instant, okay, we get property information, right? We go up to here where it says create report. The property report. Now this is approximately 28 pages. Mine is 11 or 12. So you can look at the pages, choose what you think you want to send, and then run report. I haven't run a report on this yet, so we'll see how long it takes. And it shouldn't take very long, and hopefully it's not really fast. It will be. It will be. It'll pop up. I just want you to see what the report looks like so you can see where we get the stats from to put in that email. It's loud. That wasn't too bad.
Your dog's
My dog's.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. the 11 pages, so it's easy for them to view. It's not too much. So here's where it shows the value. So you can see on the email where I'm putting in, where I'm getting, okay, current estimated value. What's happened in the last 12 months, it's up 9.82%. What's happened in the last month? It went up over $4,000. So now you're showing a seller, hey, look, you're still going up. It's a really good time to sell. Let's talk about what you're waiting for, because I think you're waiting for the wrong reasons, probably based on what you're hearing on from the media. When can we get together so I can tell you what's really happening? Okay, and then there's other stats in here that, you know, they may or may not want to use.
Want to touch on the confidence score?
Oh, good call. Thank you. When you see that RVM confidence score, it's a 5-star. That means that they're really confident based on, and there's like Franklin, for some reason, Franklin's really a mess. And the confidence score is like 2.5 stars. So yeah, some of them you don't get at all. So what I do is when that happens, and I have emailed them and they said they're working on it. You can go into MLS and you can pull properties in MLS and you can add them in here. You can just add the MLS numbers and run the same report. Okay. So should I have like one more minute? All right, so here's what's most important. I'm going to send you, I don't know, do we have the email in
I
here?
didn't see the email come up in the, so.
Okay, all right, so we'll send you the email so that you can see what it looks like. I have the template because there's more to it than what you saw. But solo agents, really big, and I just came out today. Does anybody follow NAR on Instagram? Okay, like hardly anybody. Here's what I want to tell you. Okay, their stats came out today. Who's the biggest buying group? Who's the biggest group most likely to move? Baby boomers and the younger baby boomers. Okay, baby boomers. The younger baby boomers are 30% more likely. So when you're doing this, if you are a solo agent and this seems overwhelming, go ahead and just target them. But here's the last piece I'm going to leave you with. Please let me know if you need help, number one. Number two, in planting this seed. In the last week, I have scheduled 6 listing appointments. Okay. All right. Now, 2 of them were referrals. You got to be consistent with reaching people and giving them the real information. 2 of them are referrals. The other 4, one is a move-up buyer. 3 are baby boomers. So this isn't hard. Once you set it up, it's super easy. All right. I'll be around if you guys have any questions.
So every time we share a system like that, I'm always thinking, okay, how do you make it work for you, right? So we will share the templates, we'll share the information, make sure that things come out are in your voice. You're the ones who are going to be talking to them. Pay particular attention to your language, give them every opportunity to talk with you, because just being in the right place at the right time creates opportunity, right? So I did fix this last time. I said sharpen your sword. It created some challenges with sharpening your sword. We're gonna sharpen our axe. That means we're cutting down the trees so that we can get to where we want to go. And the first thing is actually not a training, it's a culture event. It's April, baseball, I guess, is a thing. I don't know. All right. We're having opening day of potluck, March 30th. I think the last sign off went around today.
Just sent it out.
Awesome.
More than
Okay, I expect lots of pictures. I will be on a plane myself. So have fun, enjoy, eat, maybe we get some of it. Don't have any cookies left over. That's all I have to say. Make sure you eat all these. April calendar is coming out. You should have received it in your email today. You'll notice there is a little bit of an open week, the first week of April. That's spring break part 2, right? We know that there are a lot of ins and outs and stuff. We will be doing team meeting. We'll be talking about lead gen for listing again next week. You guys make your decisions based on what your business needs, based on what your families need. That 9 o'clock meeting, you guys, everybody was so inspired by our MOFR conversation. We're opening up, we're having a larger MOFR conversation. So if you want to have examples of what other teams and other areas are doing in terms of creating MOFRs, plug into that. It's via Zoom. You can see what's happening kind of across the KW world. I'd encourage you to do that. And then we'll do some listing for lead gen information at our team meeting. The ones I want to call out specifically that I think are super important, Shift into Overthrive is coming April 13th. How many are you all registered for this? Okay, got it. For those of you who are on the fence, if this has not made your list of things to do, it is free. It is from Keller Williams International. Matt Green and Donnie are two of our very, very best presenters, and they are taking systems and marrying them with how to exactly do it in Command. So, you know, talk about plug and play. This is a great time to kind of sharpen your apps. And comes to this Shift into Overdrive. Invite your friends. I mean, it's broker agnostic. If they want to learn how to grow, it's a great way to build our businesses. And then the next thing I want you guys to be aware of, April 26th, there's a Glover event, Sheraton Milwaukee Brookfield, 9 to 12:30. This one isn't free, but it's darn near close. It's $40, I think. And Glover is, from everything I hear, amazing. And I hear that from people in this market center. So who all plugs into the Glover trainings on a regular basis? If you're wondering if the content is valuable, talk to people who have been there. I will be going. I'm excited about it.
Also, it's not the same content as last year. So if you went last year, this is completely different.
Completely different. Excellent. And then we all know social kills me. I'm not good at it, but I have to get better. I'm inspired by people who do really well, really great things, and some of them are in this room. If you are not amongst the top of the top, come learn. We're having a social media, how to build your business via social. Hour and a half. This one's via Zoom, and in person, April 27th at 11 right here. Okay. And I think that's all of the content that we have for today. Thank you all for coming. We have some, if anyone has any coming soons that we want to talk about, we'll roll into second phase of team meeting. Gustavo's yawning, which made me think he was. Oh, stretching. Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. No. Anyone have any coming soons they want to talk about? Any listings they want to talk about? Well, go get them. Let's go. We're releasing to the wild.
Way for me to get signed up for the Brewers game on Thursday.
Well, we're not going to Brewers game.
Yeah,
just
but
like-
it'll be like here.
Yeah, so the sign up was just like if you wanted to bring a dish.
Oh,
So
okay.
just come.
Okay.
Do you need to know when it is again?
Well, the game time's at like 1:10. And then will it be up here?